The Plein Air Easton Podcast is brought to you by the Avalon Foundation, enriching the lives of those on the eastern shore of Maryland through the arts. Visit avalonfoundation.org for details on events, performances, and educational programming offered throughout the year. Today's episode is sponsored by JFM Enterprises, providing distinctive ready-made and custom frames and moldings to the trade since 1974. Visit jfm.net to view their catalog of designs.
God, the last guy.
Did you ask a question?
The last guy we interviewed, Jimmy or Jeff. He was his second year. He gets third place.
Yeah.
This is her third year. She gets second place. Maybe it's probably dumb. We can cut that question, Nick, if you want to cut that question out there.
I was like, what?
You don't get what I'm saying? Like a person. We have had so many people who come on here who are like, oh yeah, I applied my first year and I got in. All right, welcome everybody to the Plein Air Easton Podcast. Marie, we've got a very special guest on today, Mary Vega. That's what I thought. Yeah, I really loved when she talked about, first of all, she has been, unlike a lot of the guests we've had, has been really doing this, not like a lot, but quite a few, from the very beginning of her life. She's always been doing this and studied it, and then came to Easton just over the last 3 years. And I love what she was talking about with the negative thoughts, getting rid of the negative thoughts and that sort of stuff when you approach painting. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's applicable to a lot of things. And my aha moment was about getting emotions through your work.
That was really interesting.
Yeah,
and
it was powerful
and really hard. It was very hard for me to gather, how she was doing that, and then she explained it really, really well. So let's take a listen and see what's going on. This is Mary Vega, Plein Air Easton artist. Welcome, everyone, back to the Plein Air Easton Podcast with sound effects today. I am here, Tim Wagon, with Marie Nuttall. Marie, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Tim.
We have a very special, you got all serious on me there. We were just laughing right before we came on. She gets all serious on me. We got a special day today, Marie, because we have a person in the studio.
I know,
actually
it's so
in
fun.
the studio. Mary, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tim.
There's a little sound effect for you there.
That was my sound effect, sorry.
That's all right. That's totally okay.
She comes with her own drum roll.
That's right. Mary, welcome. It's great to have you in the studio. You're able to come in because you live around here, or you don't live around here anymore, or what's your situation?
Yeah, we live in Baltimore, but we have a weekend place in Tillman Island, so I just stayed overnight again last night, and so that I could come down here and do this podcast with you guys.
And you got your art career started in Baltimore. Is that where it started?
Yes.
How did that happen? How did that come about?
Well, basically, I've been doing art my whole life
in
some capacity.
Meaning what?
Meaning I've always been drawing and painting since as a young child.
You just like to doodle? You like to do it, or you were serious? You're a career artist. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a career. Yes.
Okay.
I've always enjoyed doing.
She's the true, genuine
article. You've been making money at it the whole time,
yeah.
Your whole life.
Well, yeah, I do look at it as a career,
uh-huh.
and it's a job. And even though I love it, it's still a job. And I started doing freelance work, and then I started my own business.
How old? 8, 9, 10?
No.
7?
No. I started my business, in my 20s. So it was a while ago. And doing murals and decorative painting and painted furniture. And I did that for 20-some years. And then worked my way back on, into fine art and plein air.
Okay. What did you study in school?
I studied Spanish, actually.
Spanish?
Uh-huh. And I studied fine art, too.
Through grade school and high school?
Yeah.
And then on to college?
And then on to college. Yep.
And where'd you go to college?
I went to Davis and Elkins College.
Where is
It's in Elkins, West Virginia.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
And I studied Spanish there, and I minored in business, and I also minored in fine art. They had a very small art department, but I knew I wanted a liberal arts degree, not just a art degree. So then I still wanted to pursue more art, so came back and did...
Before you go, what's with the Spanish? What was the goal? You just loved speaking Spanish?
Yeah, I am Spanish. My dad was from Barcelona.
Okay. So did you learn Spanish in the home?
We did when we were younger.
But then you stopped.
Then we stopped.
And you wanted to keep going.
I wanted to keep going. Yeah,
gotcha.
I just love it.
The business degree obviously went with the, you're going to make a business out of fine art. That sort of, is that what's going on there, or were you going to fall back on business?
Well, I just was also interested in business, so just decided I would minor in business because I wanted to figure out, just learn more about it.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking necessarily in art. I wasn't sure what I could do in art to earn money back in the early 90s. So, but I still wanted to do it, and I wanted to learn more, and that's always been my goal, still is my goal. I want to keep on learning and growing with my skill level and my art career and developing till I die.
Okay. So then we'll get back to your history. I guess my immediate question is if you've been doing this for so long, why are you so surprised when you win an award in this? I mean, you were literally in tears the time that I saw you. I mean,
shouldn't you just expect?
well, no. I mean, I know that John Brandon Sills helped you sort of get into the plein air world, and is that new? I must have your whole history wrong.
The plein air world is new.
Okay.
So I started doing plein air about 10 years ago, but Plein Air Easton, I wasn't competing or doing a lot of it. I was still doing murals, and so the plein air competition world and doing more plein air is new. So that has just really been in the past 3 years.
Okay, thank God. I thought I was losing my mind.
Getting into Plein Air Easton in 2019, that was my first year. And I was just blown away because I've looked at these artists that are amazing, and they've been doing this for a long time, and they're incredible. And so, yeah, that's why I was just shocked, because I was like, whoa, I can't believe that I got an award this year in this competition that I was just so, impressed and delighted to be a part of.
Okay.
And especially from that judge.
Right, yeah, Daniel Weiss. Yes, you call it the Daniel Weiss podcast.
Yeah.
So, okay, go back. So then you got out of school with your degree, and then what did you do up to previous to 2018-19?
Then I studied at MICA, Maryland Institute and College of Art, and I got my fine art certificate, and I wanted to go to graduate school and get my master's. It ended up I started a family and went a different course. So worked as an illustrator and doing freelance work. And then I started my business doing decorative painting and murals. And then eventually just, about 10 years ago, did the shift over to starting to do more landscape painting and oil painting again. So...
Is that a difficult transition from, huge format of painting on a wall to, down to a canvas?
It was, because I was used to painting really big and loose and like a whole scene, a whole environment that's all around you. And now I had to condense the whole thing with a different medium, because I was doing those in acrylic, to a different medium of oil, and make it all small and make it something that could really, represent what, that same feeling of sense of space.
The sense of space, making that smaller was hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Condensing.
I think as, someone that is aspiring and, just watches a lot, but the whole perspective piece just really kind of blows my mind, like how somebody can do a face that is 28 feet tall, or you know what I mean, like take something and have it like so much
that would
different
be
and still be in
intimidating.
proportion, and not have like not have it turn out Picasso-ish, let's say.
Right.
Not
yeah,
that that's
right.
a bad thing, but
It's worked out for Picasso anyway.
yeah, it worked out great for him.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people think it's really hard to do things really large, like murals, like that's really difficult. And then it's also difficult, but like we were just saying, it was really hard to make it all small.
Right.
And then I just worked smaller, and then I gradually started doing bigger and bigger and bigger paintings, and now I'm back to doing big paintings.
What role did Brandon Sills play in your entry into Easton, I guess, and maybe the plein air world? Excuse me, I think I understand that he was a big influence for you. Is that correct?
I studied with him in 2017 and part of 2018.
He was the teacher.
He was teaching again. It was a rare opportunity, and I knew somebody that knew him, and I took a few of his classes, and I really liked his whole message, especially, which was about the oneness and about getting your emotions across, and a real feeling as a focal point in your painting, and having that expressed was just very meaningful. And just bringing a lot of spirituality and just bringing more to your painting.
What can you do to do that? I mean, let's go to one of yours with the fields and the horses in it and that sort of thing. I've seen a lot of, not a lot, but 2 or 3 of your paintings that are, these beautiful fields from a distance. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with your technique to get the spirituality in there? I mean, I know you say you feel one with it, but how do you apply it?
Basically what I do is I try to tap into like senses so that you feel more present with it. So whether it's texture, where you feel like you could touch it or feel it, or whether it's like you can feel the warmth of the sun and you can feel like the heat and the glow, that helps to bring you into it and make you more present, which is what plein air is all about, is being present. Or if it's like the sound of, like one that I just did was like I wanted it to be about the sound of waves.
Okay,
so
here we go.
What I had to do was I had all this like bright sun and it was pretty and all this other stuff, and I was like, but that's not what I wanted. That's just like it was okay. It was fine, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for just like that, that really subtle, soft sound of waves. So I ended up doing some scumbling and really softened it and made the whole thing, I shortened the whole value range into a very condensed value range and made it more tonal and really subtle shifts so that it was really, really soft, which was one of the senses I wanted. And because I wanted it to be like a soft sound that you're hearing, and I feel like it did that. It
Gotcha.
got that feeling across. So,
I feel like I can hear it, and I don't even know what the painting looks like.
Yeah, right.
So it's really tapping into the senses.
Kind of hypnotized us there.
Yeah. You were there.
I totally I could hear it.
There you go.
What about something that were harder? Do you go that way, or does the softer come easy to you?
Oh, definitely you can do things that are harder, like what you were talking about, the quaintness and stuff, or with the horses. Sometimes,
No, I mean, when you say we were trying to paint soft, you were trying to paint soft. I mean, I find a sort of a softness about a lot of your work. You know what I mean? Like, what if it's you? Is that where you gravitate towards in general? Or,
I do, because
And how do you challenge yourself if you find yourself doing the same thing?
Well, I just did one that was like a really, really strong, dramatic sunlight. And so I just, a lot of times I'll just keep, this one's a studio painting, put it on the mantle, step back from it. I'm like, it's just not doing it. It's not holding the room. It's not drawing my attention. It's not doing what I wanted it to do. So I'll go back and I'm like, I need to bump this up. I need to bump that up. I need to pull the contrast. I need the drama to come out. And a lot of that has to do with colors and the senses. And just like I wanted to feel that warmth on the field and through the sunlight, and just get all those color shifts and stuff to all be working together to make that glow that you see and that you can just feel it.
We were, I was talking with Krista Pisano 3 years ago after we had just gotten to know each other, and she had won a couple awards or whatever, and we were walking by a gallery in town, and there was a picture of a crab with a beer glass next to it. And we looked at it, we just glanced at it, and she said, "Look at this. This is actually a really good painting. If you cover up the beer glass, look at how that crab really pops if you take out the beer glass." And that would be a simple thing, I would guess, like you cover it up. But would John use examples like that in class? Like, look, if I just do this, it becomes softer, or it becomes harder, or is it like, no, you've got to redo the whole painting? Or you got to redo at least like a lot of section of it.
No, he taught like a lot about refracted light and about like how to get the light spectrum and how to create glow, and by toning the canvas ahead of time and stuff, and trying to get all that color harmony and color shifts. So yeah, he taught a lot of like technique stuff too. He didn't really do a lot of demos. In fact, I don't remember him doing any demos. So it was really him talking and going around and pointing things out. And, you know, a lot of that stuff, it takes a little while to digest. And even like when I'm painting still, I'll be like, what the heck did he mean by blah, blah, blah? Something that I'll remember. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, okay, so here's this, you know, that's what, you know. And not just him. I just did I studied for a while with David Buckley Good, who's a landscape painter, more of classical realism. He teaches at the Schuler School and the Mitchell School. And so I studied with him when I started studying oil again back about 10 years ago. And then I'll do like some short workshops and stuff, and you get like little pieces here and there from different people that you can apply to your own path. But what John really helped was just, you know, he's a spiritual person, and he has like a very interesting purpose to his work and has meaning. And that was what I was looking for. And it was just like the right teacher at the right time.
Yeah.
And he's a great friend too. So
it just occurred to me in your speaking, I feel like when I look at your body of work, even if I don't know that you've painted it, I can look at a piece and identify, you know, oh, that's one of Mary's paintings, or, you know, Mary was here. Is there a difference, do you think, between style technique and kind of what you were saying, like just painting from your heart, like painting your heart and soul on that canvas?
Well, I think both are important. And I think your style comes through naturally. And it comes through like in subject matter, the way you paint, but it definitely comes out in what you're trying to express through your heart. So a lot of like what you were saying before, how I paint a lot of things that are soft. Sometimes I try to paint a little bit more bold, but I'm not a bold brush type of person. I like soft, and I'll end up softening when I try to do that a lot of times. And but I like soft, and I like peaceful, and I like quiet, and I like paintings that make me feel good and relaxed and at peace and comforted and just inspired.
Have you been that way your whole life? Were you ever wild and crazy and loud? And
No,
I haven't been crazy and loud.
Ever. That's awesome. That's great. That's great.
How long did it take you to get to that point where you're like, you know, this, like, I feel like this is a part of me. This is, you know, this is my emotions on this canvas. Like, how long does that take to develop your style, your technique?
Well, it's a ongoing development.
No doubt. Yeah, I get that.
And I guess, you know, within the past 4 or 5 years where I really kind of focused more on getting my feelings across on canvas. And it's, you know, a lot of times I would paint stuff that I thought was, you know, attractive, or things that I liked and things I was drawn to. But I wasn't necessarily tapping into why I was attracted to these things and what it was I loved about them. Like you were talking about the quaintness, things to like the horses, for example. I just thought that they looked so sweet and so peaceful, and it was like a couple. And then the other ones that I did with the horses, that was a little bit more about like some things that were going on in the world. And I just loved how they were all like out there, like I called it kinship. That's another thing I'll do. I'll name my paintings a lot of times before I even start painting them. That helps me to focus on what it is that I love about this scene.
Cool.
And then I try to stick with that. Sometimes the name will change and sometimes the whole idea will change. But a lot of times I'll just stick with that whole idea. Like, golden fields or fields of gold or quiet presence or something like that. Like,
Right.
Just trying to stick to those words coming through.
What happens when you don't have a name for it? You just call it Blue Number 6 or something like that?
I don't think I've ever seen a painting from Henri.
That's a great name, though.
Well, it seems like, I don't know. I get that, like, the Last Supper was called the Last Supper, and, like, the Sistine Chapel is the Sistine. It seems like with so many paintings. How many paintings have you made?
A lot.
How many great
know.
titles have you had?
Oh, yeah.
And you don't really care about the title? It doesn't matter? Do you care about a title?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I'm just at a loss, and I haven't had a Blue Number 8 or whatever you said.
Cadmium or whatever.
But maybe I will. A lot of them are very similar after a while. Sometimes it's just like words don't express it well.
Are you an artist around the house?
Yes.
In what ways? Your house is...
Design, decorating, colors. I have murals all over my house.
Oh, that was going to be my question. What do you have murals of?
My dining room is all painted like a blue toile type of scene.
Nice.
From the chair rail up.
Uh-huh.
And I like blue toile. I like a lot of like classical romantic art and more formal.
Sure.
And then I have both of my boys' rooms. One is like a tropical beach surfing theme.
How old is that boy?
Well, that was my 28-year-old's room when he was 8.
So it's held up.
I'm recycling
Timeless.
it with my 15-year-old
Yeah.
son. Moved him in there. But I had done his room. It was more of like a landscape, birds, trees, stuff.
Right. And what does your husband say about all this? Have we met your husband in this process?
I have.
You have? Mm-hmm. What does he do?
He's a golfer too.
Golfer? Wow. That's great. But is he... I think I've seen him drive you places, or like I've never... how proud of... What did you say?
I was going to say hold Mary's umbrella. I think at one point, at one point, I was driving down Tillman Road and he was holding an umbrella.
Oh, yeah. When I was out there,
Yeah.
that was really helpful. That was when I did the painting that won the award.
Oh,
and I couldn't have done it if he hadn't been out there with me because I was on the side of the road at night, which you can't really do by yourself, especially as a woman. And anyway, but he sat in the car and I was like, there were like several ideas of things I wanted to paint. I was like, I'd love to paint this scene of this house at sunset and everything.
And is he saying, yeah, that's great, or honey, just pick it, let's go, just pick something, or how does that conversation go?
Yeah, he stayed down here. Didn't go back to Baltimore so that I could paint that. He sat in the car in the air conditioning, which was perfectly fine, but then he came out, brought me a little glass of wine. And it was all a very nice evening. It was so hot.
It sounds like it.
But it was just a lovely evening. I was just in such a happy space, and I was so grateful that he was there with me, and it was just a really nice evening.
How surprised is he at your latest success, or has he said, this is coming, that type of thing, or he is just enjoying it?
Well, he's always been a huge supporter of my art career, and he pushes me.
Oh, good. Yes,
he really pushes me.
In what ways?
His mother's an artist.
Well,
he made me apply.
Does his mother Is she still living? Is she still alive?
Yeah.
What does she think of your art? The mother-in-law.
Oh, she's very proud.
The mother-in-law.
She's very proud. She's wonderful.
What kind of artist is she?
She does a lot of printmaking.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So he's been around the world. He's been around that world for a long time.
Mm-hmm. They had a pottery business, and yeah.
Did you ever go into? Go ahead, Marie. Go ahead. You have something?
Did
you ever go into sculpture or anything like that?
Did I ever do sculpture?
Yeah, sculpture.
I did when I was in college, and I really liked it. But I ended up painting.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Did they make you go through, like, I know my sister went through a fine art degree, and it was like she had a stint in glass blowing and a stint in pottery. You know what I mean? Like, they make you kind of go through the different disciplines to find where you, what resonates with you the most.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
What was your final? Do you remember?
Well, painting.
Just go
ultimately.
paint something. Yeah, just bring a painting in.
Yeah, it was just the most. I felt like I had the most versatility with it and could do the most with it.
Right.
Do you have like a final gallery show?
A final gallery show?
Yeah. Like in college, do they end it with like everybody?
You're going to be displaying.
We're going to have an exhibit.
Well, it's like Pam Beasley in The Office, like when she had to show her art and they had. Do you have something like that in the colleges?
No, they didn't really do that.
Right.
No, I mean, if anything, like a group show, but not like a solo show or anything like that.
How many bad teachers did you have? Or teachers, not bad teachers, teachers that you didn't gel with? Like, you say John came along at the right time. Would you go back to John? Are you done with what you think you can learn from John? And how do you I know that some people stick with some of these artists forever and that's who their teacher is. And that's what, do you have somebody like that? Or are you going to keep searching?
I'll keep searching. John's not teaching, but he and I are good friends. And so we still, chat and celebrate our successes together.
You both have a lot of successes for sure.
And, I always enjoy his company and we have our good talks and stuff, and that's really helpful. But I just took a workshop with Kevin Mcpherson, and that was really interesting.
Oh, nice.
I'll see little things that pop up, and I'll online and like a small demo or something like that, and look at those because I want to keep learning. And so I'm like, that person, I'd like to learn how they're doing this. I'd like to learn that, and keep going. So I assume I want to be a lifelong learner. I'm not done by any stretch. I want to keep going.
Mary, I want to go back to the first question. Why did you cry when you got the award? I mean, why did you? I mean, not to embarrass you, but like, I mean, I had never really talked to you. You know what I mean? It felt like, and I don't even think it was that night. I think it was the next day. When I saw you, we were in the corner. I was checking in a painting or something like that, or maybe checking in one of yours. I think it's what it was. And, you were extremely humble and appreciative and like, but, what happened in last year for you in terms of all of what your whole career since a child, like being in fine art?
Well, all year I was anticipating doing Plein Air Easton again, and I really thought and prayed a lot about trying to do some artwork or wanting to do artwork that was worthy of an award. And I really tried to focus on that and manifest throughout the year, and more specifically tried to not allow myself to think negatively, like all those voices in your head are like, no way, you're not like that caliber and all that stuff. Those voices all snuck in, of course.
Sure, yeah, that's interesting.
But not believing them or giving...
not giving them any room. And I was just trying to just get all like positive manifestation and stay focused on bringing it, and doing my best and putting my best foot forward and not allowing those voices to do any damage because I wanted to really put my best forward. And so when I was just blown away that it came to fruition.
I actually feel
works.
I got to tell you, I feel really dumb asking the question because that is exactly what you told me this past summer when you were like so emotional about it. You were like, I remember I was recalling it as you were saying it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what she said when she was sitting down there. And I think, it is such an important lesson. I don't know how you keep the demons out, all every day of your life. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can only do it at certain times. I don't know, but I know it's really, really, really important.
Yeah, it's tough, and it is really important. They're not helping you.
And it's incredibly rewarding when
it's incredibly rewarding.
Turns out that,
yes, and it came to fruition, which was really fantastic. And I was so glad that my work was well received, especially from Dan Weiss, who I'm just blown away. He was an amazing judge to have this year too. So it was just such an honor. I loved what he said about my work. It was
yeah, no, that was really special
inspiring.
For everyone. It was one of the times, like, normally when you'll be in the back of the room and there'll be people kind of like talking or whatever, and somebody congratulating the artist when they win the award, and they'll pat him on the shoulder and say, "Hey, great job!" And the artist, every time you try to do that, artist would be like, "Shh, he's talking, shh." Everyone wanted to hear what Dan Weiss had to say about their paintings, which was a really special year for. I mean, that's Marie and the gang scoring that judge this year. And we've had a lot of great judges over the last 16 years. Dan was a little bit more special, especially coming off of Plein Air.
Very special.
Or the COVID virus, to have somebody like sort of come in like that was big.
Absolutely. So it was an incredible honor. And being newer to plein air competitions, I didn't expect it. I mean, I think it was Zufar who was standing next to me. And I was just frozen and dumbfounded when they said it. And he
did somebody have to nudge you? Like,
yes,
that's you.
He told me,
that's you.
Mary, you have to go up there. And I'm like, I don't know if I can. I just was so in shock. I did not expect it, and I wanted it. It was, just one of those like.
Are you thinking when your painting's not getting picked in any show that, well, maybe it's going to win first prize? Are you thinking that? Or are you thinking this goes back to the demon sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't get third, where you like, say, well, maybe I'm going to get second. Or what did you win? You won second, correct?
Second.
Yeah. So you were right there. You know what I mean? So when it gets to
right
third,
there.
you're like, I have no chance of getting anything.
Yes, and I was thinking that. I was so happy. Prior to that, I saw so many of my friends getting awards and validation. I was so happy for them. Jill Glassman and Laurie, the new artist.
Laurie Marr.
Oh yeah, and it was just really exciting. And then I noticed, oh my gosh, we're down to the wire. I blew it, and then that happened, and I thought, did that happen?
And then you didn't want to go up on Zufar had to push you up there?
Well, he had to tell me I really had to go up there.
Right.
And then I went up there, and then And then I started crying when John came over.
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah. So in terms of, back to these sort of voices or whatever, they're not coming at you from one sort of angle.
No, they come every angle.
Yeah. Can you talk about those a little bit, like for other people who may be listening, who may be going through that or haven't thought about that in, a year or two?
Don't you have enough voices in your own head, Tim, that you want to ask for Mary's too?
No. I'm looking to defeat them. That's what this is one of the big. I'm doing this golf thing.
I get it.
It's these two women called Vision 54, and they believe that that you can birdie every hole if you shoot you'll shoot a 54, and they've had a lot of success. But one of the big things is the voices in your head.
Yes,
they
can either help you or hurt you,
but they don't come right at you. Like you'd make a little small mistake, or even just me saying mistake. Mm-hmm. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, they can really mess with you, but after a while, you have to tell them to shut up, or just like that. So what? I'm going to go for it anyway. You have to, and Otherwise, it's not going to happen. But yeah, no, they're always still there, and they creep in. They still creep in. A lot of times you just have to laugh at them because it's so ridiculous sometimes.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Mine now is like, oh, there you go, thinking about the future again. You're not going to score your best shot, or you're not going to. There you go, thinking about the future again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just leave it. You know.
Yeah.
So wait, so I've got a question for everybody since we're talking about something that I can relate to.
You don't relate to Plein Air Easton.
What is the difference between, like, you know, that negativity and those intuitive hits that you get? Like, they're also, you know what I mean? Like these feelings or these sensations, or maybe even their voices that are saying, you know, pick that one, or, you know, maybe try a little bit more of this. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, take that direction, or, you know, like put a micro bend in your right knee before you swing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, what's the difference, and how do you know?
It's all together.
I know, right? Like, how do we pick?
Well, all of those voices, they cloud up your mind. They're in the way. So you got to get rid of them so that you can be in tune to all of that other stuff, just like being in tune to what you're visualizing that you want to convey on canvas. So it's the same thing. You've got to be like really, really in tune so that you can.
And you have to make these rapid fire decisions. Like,
yeah,
that's a negative one. This one, it, you know, could be an intuitive hit.
Yeah, you got to go for it. And you don't necessarily know if it's right or whatever, but you have to at least try.
Right.
Do you think you have to get to a certain point in your career at painting, Mary, for that to be really effective for you? In other words, sometimes we do things that. You know, I mean, you say that painting's not good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we have had those. We can't walk around. Do you think you had to go through those to be able to handle the voices? Because you still had the voices back then, too.
Yeah, I know. But you also have to have a voice that you tell yourself, too, that is saying, not everyone's going to be a winner. And you're on your journey, and you're learning every day, and you're learning from the mistakes, too. And if you're not going to get anywhere unless you challenge yourself. So this is part of the process.
Right.
Making mistakes, and it's okay. Keep going.
Right. Gotcha. What do you think, Marie? A couple rapid-fire questions here? Unless you got something more on this. I see you stewing.
I know. I got, like, you know, steam coming out of my ear.
No, I think it's a really important thing. It just... Again, the thing that I'm studying is practicing. Like, you know, just doing a lot. How do you practice to make yourself ready to go? Do you do practice paintings, or is everything going to be a finished final product? And are the best paintings that you make in your house?
Yeah. Do you push yourself to complete it, even when you, like, it may be a little off? Does that mean it's like paint over, or do you try and see it through?
Last winter, I threw a painting out. I was like, I can't even have this around me. Right. I got so frustrated with it. And I was like, I don't want to work on this anymore. I'm going to do something else because it's just not good. And it was like a meadow, and I was really working on meadows. And eventually, I did learn something from it. I learned a lot from it. And you learn a lot from a lot of the duds and the ones that get too mushy and too muddy and... or just bad composition, all of that you learn from. So.
Yeah, it's almost like this, like, sort of paradox where you have to make mistakes to. I mean, I guess everybody, they've said this: 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or whatever. You have to make the mistakes to get better.
Definitely.
I know that every time I get interested in picking up a paintbrush, I talk myself out of it because I want to go from not painting from a blank canvas to having a style.
Oh.
Like, what advice would you give somebody who is just starting out, whether that is like, you know, just pick it up and just do it, or
I would say pick it up and just do it, because you got to start somewhere. And I would love, a lot of times when I'm trying something new or something, I'm like, I want it to look like this, and it's just not, you know, working. And I get frustrated by not being where I wanted to be. But I have to remind myself that this is a journey, and I got to keep practicing it and hone in more and try to hone in on that skill and, you know, learn it. Whether I study it with somebody or study it on my own, but, you know, that there's a lot of work to do on your own just studying it.
Can't skip the steps.
No, you can't.
Unless it's just like
What
one of
style
those
do you want, Marie?
natural.
When
I don't
you
know yet.
do you have to
I
decide
don't know.
what style
Style
you want?
will evolve. It comes from you.
Right. But it's not going to come from anywhere as
Yeah.
long as those art supplies are still,
Right. The other thing
still in
is,
my bag.
it's really helpful to figure out like what art do you like? What do you want to paint like? And I don't know if you have a Pinterest board or if you just save images and stuff and just sort of collect. And after a while, you'll start to see your aesthetic and the different things that you like and things that you want to paint. And then you'll start to be like, oh, okay. And then you start to see certain styles that you like. I like a lot of soft landscapes that are more tranquil and calm. And I love tonalism because it's very emotional and powerful in a really subtle way. So, that's helped me to really hone in on this type of work that I want to do, the type of body of work. And that's how you can start to work on developing your own body of work and your style will come through.
Right.
Take a workshop. Workshops are a great way to get yourself excited and learn new things and just get structure and some sort of discipline about how to go about it. Like you need this, and your materials, and you go out and you do this, and then just keep going from there.
Right.
And workshops are not a huge commitment necessarily. You can do them online. You can do, watch demos online. You can do, so many through Zoom, even if you, really want to be very low
more and more
commitment.
now.
Or you can just, take a weekend for yourself and do that. But that's a great way to start. I did the talk this morning at the St. Michael's Art League, and I meant to bring one of the first paintings that I did in plein air, which I just think it's interesting to look back at where I started.
Do you keep it for
plein
that
air.
purpose as kind of like a
yeah.
reminder,
Yeah.
touchstone?
Speaking I saw John Brandon Sills shows me his first painting, too, years ago.
Oh, yeah, I've seen his first painting, too.
So I guess it is kind of something that you sort of do. And Marie, I think we're going to hit these rapid fire questions in a second. I have one more question, Marie, before we do. With the lockdown and COVID, changing everything for a year, counting for us, do you have any promises that you made to yourself as an artist that once it got back to normal, you were going to keep for yourself or, push your work further, or I'm not going to settle anymore. I'm going to make sure I'm getting every moment of my life and my artwork out there. And anything like that hit you at all? Or were you just
Coming directly from the pandemic shutdown?
just sort of that time of, like life is short. It could be, who knows? You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing?
Well, I'm glad that things are opened up a bit and that I can participate more, and that I'm looking forward to participating in some more. I'm invited to Olmsted Plein Air this year, and I'm just looking forward to participating more in plein air. I'm thinking about teaching a class in plein air this year in Baltimore, and just really broadening my whole scope because I really love it, and it's what I enjoy doing, and I would like to share it.
Well,
more.
we can tell you love it. We can tell you enjoy doing it. So thanks a lot for being here, Mary. Let's hit these rapid fires. Marie, you can hit as many as you want, I think. Nick's giving you a multitude
As many
of
as I
rapid fires
want.
to hit.
All right. Mary, what are you reading currently?
What am I reading currently?
Yes.
Oh, I just finished reading a book that actually my neighbor just wrote, and it's called All We Are Saying. And
Nice.
it's about peace, and it's a really nice book.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fiction or nonfiction? Or?
Fiction.
One thing about you that surprises people that we can't read about on your bio website.
Well, I think some people are surprised that I'm half Spanish.
Tim sure was.
Yeah, especially when her accent came across. I couldn't believe I couldn't pick up the Spanish in it. Yes, you're exactly right.
If you could time travel, what period would you go to?
Probably the Renaissance. I mean, especially if we're thinking of artwork.
Do you want to help Michelangelo out with this?
Yeah. I love classical art, and that's another thing that I think surprises people about me too, is that I have like a much more formal art collection, and it's more old Renaissance feel.
Wonderful.
Nice. Would you rather explore the depths of the ocean or go to outer space?
Oh my God. Neither.
Ooh, she likes it right here on Earth.
I don't want to go down
Need my
deep.
feet planted firmly on
Firm
the
and terra.
ground.
I don't want to go down
You can have
deep.
protection around you. I mean, we're not going to send you on a tether.
And I don't want to go way up there. And no, I don't want to either.
What if you could have been up with Shatner? Would you have gone with Shatner last week?
No.
See, there you, someone who knows what she's. Yeah, I got you. Next question.
No, thank you.
Ice cream or gelato?
I'm not a big ice cream person. I guess ice cream.
Oh, that was.
A brownie, can I
I
say?
hope you don't have any ice cream sponsors on this show.
Brownie instead.
That could be favorite junk food. All right. Godfather or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Thank you.
Dina, our technician, does not like that answer.
That was not the right answer, according to Dina.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
All right. Very good.
See, I mean, but you had a hint because she already is
Said
inclined
brownies.
to brownies.
Cake or brownies?
Brownies.
All right, Mary, this has been great. Thank you for coming so much for coming into the studio with us. You're only the
Thanks,
second
Tim.
person I think that we've had in here since we started the new season up for the Plein Air Podcast, and it really does help us a lot. So we really appreciate you taking the time because you could have phoned it in from Baltimore, Tillman, wherever you were. So we really appreciate it.
I know, but she stayed an extra day, and
Marie, do
Then
you have
I
any
wouldn't
final?
have gotten to see you guys.
Do you have any
know.
final thoughts, Marie? You want to? I mean, as the sort of the event coordinator for Plein Air.
we want everybody to know that Mary is an exhibiting artist at the 50th Waterfowl Festival this year.
Yes.
Is that the first time you've done that?
Yes.
That's exciting.
I got in last year, but, with the pandemic, they postponed the 50th till this year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Where are you? Do you know where she's going
I'll
to be?
in the museum.
In the museum. Oh, great. Wonderful. 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 That's great. Well, yes, you can certainly come down to the Waterfowl Festival. It's the second weekend in November every year. They're celebrating their 50th this year, and it will be a great place to see a lot of art, none more deserving than Mary's work at the Academy Art Museum this year. Again, thanks, Mary. Marie,
Thanks,
great
Tim.
show. Thanks.
Hey,
Thanks, Marie.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Catch you next time.
All right.
The Plein Air Easton Podcast is brought to you by the Avalon Foundation, enriching the lives of those on the Eastern Shore of Maryland through the arts. Visit avalonfoundation.org for details on events, performances, and educational programming offered throughout the year. The Plein Air Easton Podcast is produced by Nick Richards. Our theme music was generously provided by Blue Dot Sessions. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. You can learn more about Plein Air Easton at pleinaireaston.com.